As a human being, the fastest way to change your life is to change your vibes, to change what's inside you, your inner frequencies that you're creating and you're emanating and you're resonating with. The faster you can change your vibes, the more flexibility you have in how much your human story can stretch itself into another direction. For example, if you want to make way more money and you're able to stretch your vibes from scarcity to abundance, you can have way more money coming in. You'll be attuned to the frequencies of abundance, and you'll probably be in that state where you can just do no wrong financially. Whether you work hard or not, the ease and flow you can enjoy in life and money will just come to you because you're vibing in the space of abundance. And vibes work as essentially a container for your story, but they also constrain your story. Your story cannot violate the vibes that you're bringing into your existence, into your human matrix. If your human matrix is not vibing with abundance, you don't get to experience human story playing out over time that vibes with abundance. You don't get to experience the state of abundance. That doesn't mean you can't experience money, but the money that shows up will be in a non-abundant container. It'll be in the vibrational container of scarcity. So for instance, you may have more money coming in, but you may always feel it's under threat, or you may have the experience of it's just never enough, it's not enough, and you always need more ambition and more hard work and so on to get more money coming in. So you're always chasing it because that's the vibe of scarcity. Scarcity aligns with clinginess and neediness. So you're always going to have that needy relationship with money. It doesn't really matter how much shows up or how it comes through. And it's going to be the collection of your other vibes that determine how fast the money can even, show up and come through. Whether you think you can have that come into your story or not depends on your vibes. But the more open and free and flexible and unconstrained your vibe space is, the more human story elements you can invite. What that basically means is you can make snap changes in your human story faster. It's kind of like the story level, the experiential level equivalent of being able to win the lottery. If you have a vibe space where that's possible, it doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it means it's allowed in your container. If you have a vibe space where that's just ruled out, not going to be vibrationally allowed because your container is one of scarcity, you can't violate that container. And so you don't get to have, the equivalent of a lottery win or some big kind of windfall. It could be a windfall financially, could be a windfall socially, could be a windfall sexually. There's all kinds of ways a windfall can show up in your life. But your vibrational container, in order to allow a windfall in, it has to be flexible enough. It has to have vibrational range that allows for a windfall to come in. So if your container is one of, say, feeling unattractive, feeling unsexy, feeling disconnected, feeling alone, how are you going to have a windfall in the area of romance or sexuality? It doesn't fit inside that container. Doesn't mean you can't have connections, doesn't mean you can't have relationships, but they'll probably show up with other baggage, like lying, deceit, distrust, partial matches, that sort of thing. Your vibrational range is the container of your human story. There's something of an unwritten rule. It's just not written on the human side, but so let's write it right now. And you can play around with this, see if you can violate it. I have found it's not only not something I can really violate, but it's generally unwise to even try. And it's unnecessary too. There's better ways to open up your story than trying to cheat your own vibes. The rule is essentially this, that our human story cannot violate our vibes. Our human story cannot violate our vibrational range that we are attuned to. And so we have a certain vibrational range. Some people say we'll be in the vibes of depression. Others may be in a sense of loneliness or disconnection or shieldedness or guardedness. And some people may be more in the range of peace and relaxation, feeling chill or gentleness. Some others may be in the range of stimulation, excitement, fun, passion, energy. And still others may be in a range like stress and worry and fear or anxiety. These ranges can overlap. They're like frequencies of light. And so you can limit yourself to just one part of the light spectrum or of the vibrational spectrum, or you can cascade through all of it in your vibrational range. You can extend your range more and more. The invitation as a human is twofold, mainly. One is to explore and experience your current vibrational range. And that's something we tend to do by default. And the more you live your life, the more you add elements to your story, whether they're interesting or not. The second way is to extend your vibrational range. So instead of just living out your story within your current vibrational range, you actually seek to change your range or extend your range. Now, ultimately, they're both connected. If you can move your range, you're really extending your range. And if you extend your range, you're also moving your dominant range, because you'll tend to gravitate towards spending more time in certain subfrequencies that resonate most with you. If you want to have new experiences that are outside what you've already experienced, you can try to work towards them within your current vibrational container. But you've got to ask yourself, do I have the vibrational range to invite this new story in? If you're trying to go for wealth, but you're not in the vibrational ranging with abundance, if abundance is outside your vibrational range, then you're going to have to live out the wealth story that's constrained by your vibes, which may include vibes like scarcity. And so you may not have the full experience of abundance. If, however, you can shift your vibrational range to invite in the feeling space, the vibe space, the inner reality of being attuned with the frequency range that we might call abundance, then you get to live out abundant vibing stories in your human life. And that means you can have, windfalls. You can have your rags to riches story play out. But you can also, if you're vibing with the space of abundance, you can also extend that well beyond finances. You can invite more fun into your life. You can invite more friendship into your life, more creativity, more of anything, really. Anything that aligns with the vibrational space of abundance. Now, it's more complicated than that because we have a lot of different sub-frequencies as well. So you can have some things, that open you up to the vibrational range of abundance and you feel like you're doing really well there. But then you may have some other things that are still baggage that are pulling you away from abundance and creating mixed signals. That's like sort of taking a balloon and letting the air out of it then. It's like you get the balloon, but it's not quite the full experience you wanted. So your vibes can create interference patterns with each other. Just like in music, if you play multiple songs at the same time, it doesn't sound very harmonious most of the time. They're going to, conflict with each other. The frequencies add together. So when you vibe with abundance, but you also vibe with something like neediness or lack or scarcity or fear or worry or anxiety, you drag down the range that you can get with pure abundance. Pure abundance is cleansed of all those interfering frequencies. It's much like constructing the song of your life, which are the frequencies that are most harmonious with each other that you want to weave in. So it's not just about extending your range, it's about extending the range you have access to, and then basically deciding which of those frequencies do you want to use most to build the story of your life in a harmonious way. And that's where your story will become increasingly interesting to live out on the objective side, on the experiential side as a human being going through it. You're going to have a much more fascinating, fun, exciting journey if you can create more harmonious connections among the vibrational space that you tend to inhabit, that you tend to dwell in on the inside. How it feels to be you. What's you and what's not you is a really key decision to make vibrationally. Which are the vibes that are you? Do you want to weave in fear into your human matrix? Do you want that to be part of it? If not, you got to kick out the fear. Do you want guilt to be part of it? Do you want regret to be part of it? Do you want excitement, passion, fun, adventure, love, lust, sensuality, sexuality? What are the frequency ranges you want to invite in? Then you got to consciously invite in, and you're the doorkeeper. You're the one who decides which frequencies you engage with and which you don't. The encouragement here is to make wiser vibrational decisions. And identify those frequencies where you eventually conclude, this is not my best. This is not part of my best range. This is not part of my best song collection. I do not want this frequency range in the song of my life. And so you say no to those vibes. I do this type of cleanup work every year. I keep finding sub-harmonies, sub-frequencies that they just don't feel like they fit me. They don't feel they fit in the song of me, of what I want to experience in my life. So, I kick out things like shame and guilt and fear and worry and dread. I just don't want to invite those in. Anxiety, don't really need that. As an occasional visitor as a messenger, that's okay, but not as an overnight guest every day or every night, all the time. Every interesting decision you make in your human life can be categorized two primary ways. Either you are making a decision within your vibrational container, or you're making a decision about your vibrational container to change the vibes that you experience. So either you're choosing to shift your vibes or you're not. And if you're not choosing to shift your vibes, then your decision is basically within your current vibrational container. What I find is that I will make much better and much more interesting, better payoff decisions in life when I first start with the vibrational level in any key decision I want to make, personal or business or otherwise. So first I look at what is the vibe space I want to choose, that I want to be in. Do I want to make this decision from a place of, say, the range of kindness, caring, compassion, gentleness, intimacy, open-heartedness, generosity? Maybe that's a certain range. I feel like, I'd love to go there and then make the decision from this vibrational place. Maybe there's some other decisions I look at and I think, that's going to lead to kind of a boring, half-hearted decision. That's not the vibrational space I want to be in for making this type of decision. So maybe you go to a different vibrational range and you say, I want to be in excitement, passion, adventure, courage. I want to be in that space. Even weaving in a little bit of danger, stretching myself, challenge. I want to be challenged. And you think, that's the space I want to be in. That's where I want to take my vibrational container and explore over here. And now I'm going to make a decision from that state of being, from that place. Even if it's a temporary stretch move, what helps is when you stretch yourself over to a new vibrational area that you're not necessarily the most familiar with or comfortable with, but you really get yourself stretchy over there. And now you make a decision, not just a decision, but ideally a committed decision from that vibrational space. Now what happens is that decision about your human timeline, about what you want to do, the actions you want to take, the project or the goal you want to take on, helps to basically bow out the edges of your vibrational space. If you can keep in tune with the vibrational space you were in when you made that decision and you don't sink down from it. So if you decide to take on some kind of creative project, because you got yourself really stretchy in the direction of wanting to be challenged and doing something courageous, doing something bold, something adventurous, something fresh and new and creative and so on. You got yourself to that vibrational reality before you made the decision. Now, that human journey to do that creative project, to take the actions, to advance it, to move it forward, can help to keep you aligned with those vibes. Again, as long as you keep reminding yourself that that was the vibrational container you used to make that decision. If, on the other hand, you sink away from those vibes too far and you go back into, say, your old comfort zone, your old reality, and it's not in attunement with those vibes, what will happen is you won't get to live out the higher vibe version of that story. It'll get pulled into your other vibrational container and it will become a shadow of its former self. It will become a project that, say, is tedious or overly stressful. It doesn't feel as creative as you hoped. It doesn't feel as challenging in the right way as you hoped. And you feel disengaged from it, and that's the story you have when you were away from those vibes. So the challenge is not only to make vibrational decisions and human decisions within them, but to keep refreshing that vibrational space. Now, one of my favorite ways to do that is to simply put reminders in my reality physically of the new vibrational container. I literally plant it in my reality physically in some way. For example, at this time of year, I've been really focused on what I call star energy, this sense of emanating light into my reality and creating more of the reality I want to experience, feeling like I'm in charge of my own solar system, my own sector of the galaxy, and I'm this creative being within it, shining outwardly like a star. So I've really been in attunement with this star energy and wanting to bring more of that feeling of like emanating light that's creative all throughout my reality, having beautiful, wonderful light, or enlightening connections with the people in my life. And that focus on the star energy is something I can easily anchor into my reality. So one thing I did was get some of these little simple star pillows, and I just put them, on a chair across from me. And I just have these in my reality, in my environment. And they're simple, they're easy, they don't take up a lot of room, a very simple physical object that I add to my space. And Rochelle and I together, we got 8 of these things, all different colors. So we spread them around the house because we're both working on this alignment with this sense of star energy. And so that's a simple addition, just get some throw pillows and sprinkle them around your house to remind you of the vibrational space you want to be in. That's perhaps my favorite cheat, is to do something, just add some physical objects. You don't have to buy something. You just draw something, put it up. Sometimes I'll just use a label maker and put labels on a bunch of things in my environment to remind me of the new vibe space. And the vibe space reminder can be a single word, a single pointer, a single object. For me, it's just the word star right now. It's like focusing on that kind of energy of emanating the kind of light I want to put more of into my reality. And so the simple word star will do it. I can put the word star all over the place, but I like doing it in more of a playful way. So the pillows are just a fun, lighthearted way of doing it. But the key is not to trust your discipline, to constantly monitor, am I in attunement with this vibe or not? Put a physical reminder in the space that you'll see. You'll just see it subconsciously even. Does that have an effect? Yeah, it seems to make a really big difference. Just take a piece of paper, write something on it, and put it on your desk and leave it there, and just have it in your physical space. That's okay, but I think it's better to get something that's kind of representative of the type of vibe space you want to move into. So I got pillows because it kind of reminds me of like one of the vibes I want to emanate more of into my space is a sense of gentleness, connection, caring, fun. So the soft plushy pillows, it gives me a sense of that softness, softening of the vibes. I don't want to be so much in the energy of like the tough love guy. That's like not my thing that I want to do these days. A little bit of that, sprinkles of it here and there are fine. But the softness, the texture can be a reminder. The colors, the pillows we got are mostly in the pastel color range. So it reminds of the sense of lighter colors, lightness, bringing more lightness up. And just having something that you can pick it up, you can touch it, you can squeeze it, you can put your head on it, you can take a nap on it if you want. That's something you can engage with directly with your hands, is that you can interact with it. That gives a feeling of bringing those vibes more into the space. You don't have to just look at it. You can actually pick it up and hold it, hug it if you want, and it feels like then you're consciously using that as a symbolic mechanism to remind yourself to bring these vibes in, to bring them closer, to bring them into the real you. Now, the more you can open up your range, move and shift your vibe space with this simple practice, the more you get to experience a wider range also, or at least a different kind of range in your human story. And what I find is when I can not only open up my vibe range, but I can get good at shifting among the frequencies within that range, like go from peace, which I like, to fun, which I also like, to having intense social stimulation. That's another part of vibrational range I like, and being able to jump from one to the other, go from peace to here, and so on, move about. Being able to do that quickly depends on me really cleaning up the vibrational space and getting rid of those lower frequencies that gum up the works and that slow things down and that prevent transitions. So when you clean up and you open up your vibrational range, you get to move around within it more quickly. What that allows you to do is really flex your human story. You can shift it much more easily. And so if you want to have different kinds of experiences on the human level, you got to open up your vibrational range more and go to where those kinds of human experiences can be part of the story. Like they become increasingly probable because they fit within that vibrational range. Simple example, let's say you want to open up more of the romantic and sexual relationship area of life, and you want to have good connections there, have partners. The vibrational range that associates with that, the mistake some people make is they think it's about confidence and maybe an assertiveness, having to always take the initiative, get out there, sign up for the latest dating app, take a lot of action, that sort of thing. But that's not really how the results open up so well story-wise. That's a story that involves a lot of work, but I don't think it's the best vibrational range for attracting romantic or sexual relationships. A better range for that is to focus on the range of attractiveness and sexiness. And so if you feel you're unattractive or you're unsexy or you're uninteresting, you're boring, if you have those things in your human matrix and that's what you've woven into your vibrational range, then your story is always going to be constrained by that. So even if you take a lot of action to try to move things forward forcefully, if you have in your matrix that you feel unattractive or you think you might be unattractive or not very attractive, not attractive to the right people who are right matches with you, if you've got a lot of stuff in your range like neediness, clinginess, it's not going to matter how hard you work on the taking action side, try to build up your confidence and strengthen that. It's not going to really help enough. It's going to give you potentially some different kind of story, but you'll get the story of getting to be in a relationship and then essentially having kind of a low self-esteem situation there emerging as well. So you'll feel like you're kind of on edge with that relationship, like it's not quite right yet. And that's because your vibrational range is constraining the story too much, and it's not letting you go in the direction you really want to go. So if instead you don't even worry about the confidence side, it's not really necessary. in the assertiveness side, also not necessary. You don't need more dating apps or anything like that. That's just constrained story. You can get great matches without opening any dating app whatsoever. So the vibrational range that you are going to want to open up if you really want better results here is feeling attractive, like feeling very, very attractive to the types of people you really want to have in your life. It doesn't mean you're trying to feel attractive towards any particular individual. That's really a form of attachment that'll get you stuck, because now you're objectifying vibrational space. You don't want to do that, because it actually constrains your vibes to objectify whatever's there, because objectification is a vibrational spectrum. So you don't want to objectify your reality in that way, unless you really want to be very constrained and have a thin, story strand of possibilities that you can experience. You'll be really in a tight range the more you objectify your reality, objectify your story. If instead you look to vibrational space and you go, okay, let's open up how attractive I feel. And you feel your way into just like being an energy source, an energy being, where other energy beings want to come to you. They're attracted to you. They're drawn to your light, and they love your light energy. They're just like, whoa, this is my star. I want to orbit this, or I want to be, at least in its solar system and connect with this energy. If you can get yourself to vibe in that space, that feeling of being there, and you can do that alone, just in your body, just feeling like I am this vibrationally beautiful, attractive being. You don't have to worry about what you look like. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, doesn't matter what body type you have. None of that matters. But being in the vibrational space, you can get there. Then your story can follow, and you'll start to see through the illusion of the flesh as if that's really the source of attraction. That's the story you get to experience if you objectify attraction. But if you don't objectify attraction, if you see attraction as like, it's my light energy being drawn to your light energy, and you see, the magnetic pull, or the sort of the compatible energies wanting to move closer to each other. If you feel those kinds of vibes and you create them in your beingness, then you get to experience very different story. You get to experience just people showing up in your life and being hot for you. Like that. That can truly happen because your vibrational space allows room for that story to unfold, to progress, to happen in its space of believability, in its space of probability and possibility. If you have a very constrained and over-objectified story about how attraction works or what attractiveness is, and you miss out on the vibrational aspect of it, and you focus on, it's about the chemistry, the biochemistry, it's about looks, it's about the body proportions and the measurements and so on. You have to be closer to this ideal ratio bullshit. That's your story. That's the story you're creating. That story is not true for everybody. That story will seem to be true within an objectified tunnel of reality, a very thin strand of vibrational space. Then yeah, you can see that story play out that way. It will seem to fit the facts, it'll seem to fit your vibrational assumptions, but vibrational space is vast, and it does not have to obey your assumptions for everyone else. Those who don't buy into that and say, I see that, that's a trap. You're objectifying your reality. And so of course you're compressing what you can experience in your human story. If you open it up and go, I can choose whatever vibes I want. I'm a vibrational being. I can create that. My human story doesn't have to play into that. I can do whatever I want because I'm a vibrational being. If you open up your story to that aspect, now you can work on the vibrational level and the human level. And you can find ways that it's really beautiful to weave decision-making on both levels together. So choosing the vibes you want to experience and then choosing what kind of story wants to unfold consistently with the vibes. If you really just choose the vibes, you'll choose the story automatically. It will start to unfold. You don't really have to plan it out or map it out or do some kind of conscious design work there. So really the most interesting decisions in life, in this human life, are the vibrational ones. You make different decisions vibrationally, and you open up a totally different access in your life to what kind of story can unfold. I mean, as I've done this myself a number of times and keep reminding myself, I need to open up vibrational space first. That's how I create. That's how I can experience new things in my life. That's how I can create the equivalent of different types of windfalls. If I keep reminding myself of that first, it really helps so much to just focus on that level and make a vibrational decision. So for instance, even when I'm going to record a new video, I make a vibrational decision first. What is the vibe I want to experience when creating this, when recording this, when sharing it? What's the vibrational space? And I'll just speak aloud, while I've already hit record, and I'm, just getting into the vibrational space of wanting to start speaking for the camera and for you. But first, I'm focusing on what are the vibes that I want to bring in and getting myself into that vibrational container. And when I get myself into the vibrational container, then the words flow from there. And for me, it's not about being in the vibrational container of confidence. It's more about being in the vibrational container of sensitivity, hearing the words, sensing the words, being in tune with the words rather than feeling like I'm forcefully creating the words or the message as an individual. It's always channeled when it comes through best. It's always I'm sensing it, I'm feeling it, I'm seeing it, I'm hearing it, and then I just let it flow through my body in the form of speech. That's how it works best. So your invitation here is to open up more of your vibrational space by making vibrational decisions for yourself. You get to choose. You get to choose the vibe space that you move into because you are indeed a vibrational being. And the more you move into that vibe space and own your true identity as a vibrational being, the more you can open up and flex and stretch and bend your human story wherever you want it to go. You can have experiences that you might have previously thought were magical or impossible because you've opened up your vibrational range so much that now there's room for seemingly magical experiences or seemingly impossible experiences to emerge. And you can have some really stretchy, bendy, flexible, experiences that really even they invite you to open up your vibrational range even more because you start seeing, wow, I opened up my vibrational range and now a new story is coming in that I never had happen before. I didn't even know this was possible for me. I love opening up the vibrational range and then seeing something new come in that in my old model could not have happened because it would have been outside the vibrational container. But when my vibrational container allows something new in that would only be possible if that vibrational container had been opened up more, then that's what really shows me, wow, this really is a vibrational space that we're in here. This really is a vibrational journey we're having through life. And we get to experience the decisions on multiple levels. We get to experience our vibrational decisions and we get to experience our human level decisions within the vibrational container. So your invitation here is to start making decisions at that vibrational level. See where you want to open up your vibrational container. What more do you want to allow in? That's your choice.